live blood analysis and electrosmog. We can learn much by looking at our blood under a microscope. This short video shows a macrophage, which is like a vacuum cleaner, engulfing bacteria among red blood cells. I decided to find out what my blood looked like. I pricked my finger, placed a drop of blood on a slide, and looked at it under the microscope. This is what I saw. The cells are round, some are separate, and a few are sticking together. Overall, fairly healthy looking blood. This testing was done in a clean electromagnetic environment, and I did not eat or drink before or during testing. I then worked on a computer for 70 minutes and looked at my blood again. This time, the cells are sticking together like stacked coins. This is called rouleau formation. Later that day, I used a cordless phone for 10 minutes and looked at my blood again. And this is what I saw. Very unhealthy looking blood. There are virtually no single cells. Most of the cells are now in rouleau formation. A doctor told me this is what she sees with cancer patients. What I learned is that my blood goes into rouleau formation when I use a computer or a mobile phone. This type of clumping interferes with the release of oxygen and the removal of waste products like carbon dioxide.
The capillaries are so narrow that red cells must squeeze through in single file, showing the importance of their elasticity.
What are the consequences of rouleau formation? Poor circulation resulting in lower oxygen transport to cells and reduced waste removal. What are the symptoms someone may experience? Headaches and fatigue, difficulty concentrating, numbness, tingling, and cold extremities, and possibly heart and blood pressure problems, including risk of stroke. What is the significance of this? Live blood analysis may be a good diagnostic for electrohypersensitivity. For more information about electrohypersensitivity, visit www.electrosensitivesociety.com.
So first things is you see a lot of target cells here, and the target cells could be a sign of adrenal stress, or you're not oxygenating enough, not enough iron and B12, folic acid, things like that. When you see that there are different sizes too, that could mean the same thing. And then this guy here, when you start to see that, I don't know if you're having any back issues, lower back problems.
Slightly.
Okay, that could be a kidney problem if it's not structural.
Okay.
And then the double overlap, they're not that consistent, but that's all we really see. We don't really see a cluster.
Yeah.
You end up seeing the double overlap, and that could be hormonal and or thyroid related, things like that. The plasma looks good in the background. That cell is a sign that it's just dying out right there.
Okay.
And when you see them shaped kind of like this, it's like you're maybe just low on antioxidants for radical damage is occurring in that one and that one.
Okay.
That one there is a little different because it kind of protrudes. It's called a protrusion, and that's generally a sign that the gallbladder might be stressed out.
Okay.
The blood plasma looks great. I mean, I don't see any signs, at least, of if you're having a hard time digesting fats. There's no fat in your blood. Oh, there's a parasite right there. You don't have any candida or yeast, which is really great, but it's probably because your diet.
Mm-hmm.
And right there is a little bit of right there, that's a little bit of fungus.
Okay.
That could just be airborne, if anything.
Okay.
These are more crystals, so that could be like the fat digestion. Because it's kind of like a crystal. But your digestion is probably pretty good. You just have pretty much like free radical damage, which you probably can't control that too much due to, you know, the air we breathe and things like that. And a few ovocytes, like they're a little bit oval. Again, that's hormonal related and or a B12 deficiency.
But mostly you see target cells.
Yeah, so either you're just not taking deep enough breaths. I don't know if you're under a lot of stress. Your adrenal glands could be stressed out, or you just... I would doubt that it's an iron issue, but I don't know. What would you think? No.
Could be adrenal stress.
Okay. And then when it starts fading like that, it's a mineral deficiency.
Okay. Those circles look good. There's one that's...
That one was attacked from the parasite, basically.
Okay.
I've seen them... Oh, there's a spiral key.
Okay.
So those guys are the nasty guys, right?
Where is it again?
He's right here. He flips. See how that guy just moves more freely, and then this guy kind of flips. So that's a spiral key. Really, what I know of those is there's another spiral key because he's a flipper guy. This is unfortunate, these guys, because it's like there's 29 different types of spiral key that I'm aware of, and 2 of them, you know, are the Lyme, the Babesia, and whatever the other one is. I highly doubt you have it, but these are still part of the family, and we can get them from even deer flies, or from even what I read, you can get them from, you know, exchanging fluids with other people. So,
okay.
All right, you ready? It's right in the middle of the slide. So they're more on top of one another.
What's the term?
Aggregation.
Aggregation.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that mean for the blood? Stickier?
Well, what ends up, it's like people, you know, like our blood cells. The more you need another person to survive, the more you're going to latch onto them and take everything out of them. When we can be independent, we don't need anything. So they're latching on to one another because they started to lose their life force.
Yeah.
They started to lose nutrition, oxygen. So they start to huddle in on one another because they're trying to grab it off the other cell.
This is after 5 minutes standing 2 feet away from the smart meter inside the house. Standing in the house, but the smart meter's on the outside wall.
Your white blood cell is really whacked out. Should be nice and round.
This one?
Yeah.
So this is throughout the slide. It's aggregated.
Well, I'm taking you to the center of the slide, which is generally where you want to take the reading from.
Yeah.
Because when you start getting to the outside, it's all going to be aggregated.
Okay.
And I'm right in the center.
The previous one was in the center also. Okay.
In the center of the blood, if that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Rather than the slide. I'd say your theories are pretty correct.
Okay. Anything else?
They're almost better than the first read.
So this is in the presence of safe space.
Look at your white blood cells
For
too.
5 minutes. Point out the white blood cell.
Right there.
In the upper left.
Yeah. It's not as contorted.
So I was standing in front of the smart meter just like before for 5 minutes, but it had safe space products, a sticker and
You have a lot more white blood cells, though, but that's probably because you were in front of the smart meter.
Wow, it looks good. No target cells either.
No. It's almost like you want to wear a safe space.
Well, yeah, I mean, we sell it to patients. Whoops. We sell it to patients and tell them to keep it in their pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it on your cell phone.
Look at that. I mean, your white blood cell count looks a little higher, but I think it's just because...
Because it needs to fight off bugs.
Well, I think that you were in front of that smart meter, and then you probably were producing more.
Okay.
But it looks good to me.
All right, good, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
While industry has failed to do any peer-reviewed studies on smart meters and health effects, a growing body of independent research is now starting to accumulate.
In our second set of tests, we're using the smart meter. Before the exposure, we see the same thing as we saw in the first samples. Normal cell walls, fairly separated and looking healthy. So after 2 minutes of exposure in front of the smart meter at about 1 foot away, we see a totally different story. Sample 1, you can see a lot of degradation in the cells. The cell walls have been broken, and you see changes in the cells which are called mycoplasma. It shows a mutation to the cell. In the second sample, we see a different type of degradation to the cell membranes. You can see a corrugation here. This is called bottle cap formation, and it's known that this occurs due to oxidation or exposure to free radicals. So this third subject, when we did her sample, she had to be pulled away from the meter after 45 seconds because she complained about an increasingly severe headache. And here you see a phenomenon called rouleau, where the red blood cells are stacking up, which makes it very difficult for the blood to deliver oxygen to the tissues as they would be their normal function. Every single one of these is a degradation. Every single one of these shows a trauma to the blood cells. And that came from something, and the only variable was the smart meter.
What's going on here? This is a wireless device which is unproven scientifically, which all the evidence so far proves is dangerous or questionable, which should therefore be studied intensely before it's released to the public. Clever people called the technology smart to make it seem intimidating so no one would question it. Some smart ad man came up with that and got paid $300,000 to call it a smart meter so you would feel less knowledgeable, which they know we feel, and then you wouldn't question the smart people putting it in your house. So I call them not smart meters, dangerous meters.